What's up, guys? Welcome back. I'm going to be focusing on doing more examples of the personality types now. So today we'll be looking at the ENTP. Now, keep in mind there's plenty of different ENTPs out there, and this is just one example, but musically ENTPs are one of my favorites. So, Lou Reed. As far as the clip we're about to watch, it was recorded in 1984, and for those who don't know, during that time period, and especially before it, a lot of artists like Lou Reed and Bowie had a pretty bad relationship with the press and media because they always tried to dig up the dirt and, spread rumors about them. So Lou, he kind of trolls the journalists in every interview that I've watched, but in this specific interview, he takes it a bit more seriously. So I hope you enjoy.
Touring days were pretty well over. We're certainly heavy touring days. But here you are back on a world tour, and you've sort of reached a new high profile. You've appeared on That's Entertainment This Week and so on. What's brought that change around?
Well, I mean, a high profile for me, not for other people, necessarily. What brought that around? The record sold.
But you obviously enjoy playing too.
Yeah, but it's hard to get a tour together when you don't sell many records.
What do you listen to in your leisure time?
I listen to the radio like everybody else.
Do you buy records?
Yeah, a lot of records.
Anybody in particular?
CDs now. It's gotten even more expensive. So I can listen to almost the worst thing in the world on a CD. It's amazing what it sounds like. For all you people out there, a CD is really worth it.
Do you listen to your own records?
Even when they're not on CD, I listen to them. Yeah.
What's your favorite at the moment?
Oh, my favorite is always the last one. Always. Because I always feel the last one went a little bit further than the ones before it.
Okay, so in order to better understand the ENTP, let's take a look at their cognitive functions. They lead with what's called extroverted intuition, or NE. Especially when it's in the first slot, it's kind of like a mode of consciousness where the mind is excited by considering all possibilities, which makes NE-DOMs very good at things like pattern recognition, innovation, invention, spontaneity, improvisation. Their minds are constantly running with ideas after ideas, and they like to see how things that they already know connect with other things. They like to mix and match and merge, all in order to combine all those things and come up with something totally new, like some sugar, some spice, everything nice, a dash of chemical X, and boom, a new idea is born. With introverted thinking, or TI in the second slot, they tend to take those ideas and break them down, deconstruct them into fragmentary pieces with inductive logic in order to understand them. And this can show by the things that they do or create, but especially in speech. It makes them very witty, very wordy. With any TI, what I've noticed is that ENTPs might just throw up made-up words or phrases together on the spot just because they can. And sometimes they do it just to fish out a reaction to whoever they're talking to. So try to keep those two things in mind and pay attention to how those functions play out in the rest of this interview.
Staying at home watching video movies, and more teenagers going out to see movies for the sights of movies.
Are you asking me this as an older people? Or
No, not at all, not at all.
Teenager?
As a teenager. The sights of movie makers are being lowered. We get movies that are really popular but maybe aren't that good, like Police Academy or Porky's.
I like Police Academy. No, I mean, everything has its place. I mean, one day we wanted to see something really gross and stupid, and Police Academy was perfect. When you're in that kind of mood, you don't want to think. You don't want to even have to follow the jokes too well. You want something really that's just right in your face, and that's what Police Academy was. I don't know if they teach it at film school, but, Thursday afternoon at 2, it was okay.
See what I mean? Thursday afternoon at 2. What is that? Film school? Is it the time he saw the movie? Did he just come up with that on the spot just because? I mean, these are just ENTP things with their ENTP ways. Is there really a method to their madness? I mean, Lou's got this poor interviewer shaking in his boots at this point.
Do you think that the sights of rock music have been lowered in the same way? That we're getting...
I don't know that it ever had any sights. It's not a you're using a generic term, you know, rock music. I mean, who is rock music? You know, it's just individual people and bands and their own private ambitions, and I don't know anyone else's except my own, so I can't speak for anybody else other than me.
Who do you aim your records at?
I like to aim it at everybody. I would like to hope that you could get, at the very least, get a good laugh out of me. And then if you wanted more than that, it would be there too. I mean, I've always hoped to combine a certain literate thoughtfulness that wouldn't put people off rock records. That you could still have fun with the guitars and drums, but if you leaned in, there would be not Dostoevsky, but there would, you know, there would be something of substance there that you might find, if not illuminating, at least interesting. But at the very least, I would hope I would be good for a laugh.
All right, so going back to the functions, we can relate this to what I was saying before. Any likes to take one concept and combine it with another to make something new. In this case, it's literature and writing combined with music in order to create his songs. But I also want to touch on extroverted feeling, or FE here, because it's important. For some of you that have watched my earlier videos, you'll know that one of the big keywords I've correlated with FE is facial expressions, and we can see that's kind of lacking here. But the point is that sometimes one of the big, when one of the big keywords doesn't work, you'll have to try the other ones as a backup and see if it's still there. So if you've really been paying close attention to what he's been saying in the previous clips, you'll notice how his attention is focused on other people, other bands, other musicians, everyone, his public image. And even if it's in a good or bad light, the point is that that's where his attention is going. So his consideration for others or group dynamics or harmony, it's still there, even though the facial expressions really aren't. And, that's the third slot FE coming out.
I've always been impressed by his sense of humour, actually. That's obviously important to you.
Yeah, it's dry. I've been told I should smile when I tell a joke, so I've been practicing.
Before we came up from Wellington to do the interview, we were watching A Night with Lou Reed, and as a fan, I was really impressed by your guitar work. Do you feel that's been overlooked by a lot of people?
That's a good answer. I just haven't thought of it that way. It's I've been working harder at it lately. It's only a few things I'm interested in. I don't have a big complex of interests. It's just some very specific interests, and I put basically everything into that. And I just try to. I've been working on making the guitar playing, like the writing, more simple, simpler.
I've noticed a lot of ENTPs do this. NE will just throw out an idea or phrase, and TI will want to correct it while it's still floating in the air. And ENTPs, they'll always be so nonchalant about this.
Why are you in rock and roll rather than any other sort of art form? It seems to me that you could equally be a short story writer or perhaps even a novelist.
Because I really like rock and roll, and I love the idea of combining the two interests of writing and doing rock and roll. It was like putting together two things I like best.
In the minds of many people, you're very much the rock and roll animal. That seems to me to be a brief phase of a very long career.
Well, see, by rock and roll animal, I meant somebody who is very passionate about rock and roll, really likes rock and roll. I didn't mean a rock and roll animal.
Right.
But, each to their own. I don't run around saying to people, well, that's not what I meant.
Since we're in ENTP land right now, I feel obliged to go on a tangent here. If you want to listen to an ENTP song or see and hear NETI in a music video, go look up the Chemical Brothers' The Salmon Dance.
You've said in the past that your songs aren't necessarily autobiographical, that you assume a role in the songs. It seems that the last three albums, particularly Blue Mask and Legendary Hearts, were more personal. Would that be true?
Maybe. I'm a great one for exaggerating. I take a small thing and make it as though it was a big thing. Or I combine something that happened to me with something that happened to somebody I know, and then I make it all happen to one person. So it is, but it isn't.
That clip right there is ENTP in a nutshell. And yes, they are the masters of hyperbole.
You've played, as I just said, other roles on record. Have you ever thought of getting into acting?
Yeah, I was in a couple of movies. I was kind of interested in seeing how they made movies more than actually being in it. And I needed the money at the time, so it's really boring making movies. I mean, it's not like rock and roll where you just get out there and do it, and you just sit around for hours doing nothing. But, yeah, I don't know. Acting without a guitar is a whole other thing.
So any Doms and SE Doms will have this in common, where they just can't be asked to sit around and do nothing because they want to interact with their environment, and that can make them kind of impatient at times. But as far as acting without a guitar, I mean, man, that's some serious wordplay, and it's lightning fast. It'll go over most people's heads, and I can't say this for all ENTPs because the truth is every personality type has its dum-dums out there, but at least for Lou Reed, NETI, he had this mercurial wit to him. He was clever as a fox.
The next clip that we're going to play on the show is Red Joystick. Have computer games replaced pinball for you?
Well, it's just, I don't have a place big enough to put pinball games in, lots of pinball games, and, there's some interesting computer games. No, they don't replace pinball. I happen to believe that if pinball had been invented after computer games, it would be this incredible new, tactile game where you could shove it around. People would be really amazed by it. It's just that they break so easily compared to video games, and they take up so much space.
Would you ever retire?
I've never thought about that.
What do you do from here then?
What do I do? I'm going to Hawaii and renting myself a Harley.
Alright guys, that's it for now. If you go check out some of Lou Reed's other interviews, you'll see some master level trolling before the term even existed. Who knows, maybe ENTPs just have it built into their DNA. I mean, Diogenes was up there too, but anyways, if you enjoyed, make sure to like and subscribe, and yeah, thanks for watching.